Hello, welcome to Lemon Studios, where we talk anything and everything entertainment. I'm, of course, Lemon himself, Zeke Lemon, and this is my review for Friday Night SmackDown. But before we get into that, let's get the house clean out of the way. Share, I'm leave a like, comment below, and know your thoughts on SmackDown. And of course, hit that subscribe button as it helps me grow into my YouTube career. I would greatly appreciate it. Now all that out of the way, let's get into the review, shall we? So, the final episode until Saturday night's main event. And also, we got some Money in the Bank qualifiers because Money in the Bank is literally within 2 weeks. A lot of stuff going on with this episode of SmackDown, and the main thing that I really want to discuss, and it's been a discussion that we've been having here, and not just on this channel, but just online in general, is how many matches now in WWE and every show at this point really does have some kind of funny finish. Where it be someone coming out to stand on the ring apron to cause a distraction, and then that causes the 1, 2, 3. Someone comes out to help the other person win, or there's not a finish at all and there is a DQ. And then when we got to the main event portion of it, which it already happened twice before it happened here. It happened within the Tommaso Ciampa versus Nick Saban, I believe is who he was facing on the Motor City Machine Guns. They were having a good match. And this one I didn't mind because, one, it was the first one. But, Candice LeRae coming out to help DIY win the match makes sense. That pairing works very well in NXT. I think it could work very well on the main roster as well. I do hope we do get somewhat of an explanation as to why Candice LeRae no longer wants to hang out with Nia Jax, especially since both DIY and Nia Jax are heels. It just makes sense, like, hey, why not just merge the groups together at this point? So hopefully we get somewhat of an explanation for that. But it happened there. Then it happened in the other tag team match between Bloodline 2.0, Jacob Fatu and JC Mateo versus Jimmy Uso and Rey Fenix. Again, good match overall. You expect Solo to get involved in some way, form of another, because, can they coexist between JC Mateo and Jacob Fatu? And the answer was no. Solo Sikoa gets on the ring apron, distracts Big Jim, and then 1, 2, 3, and then there we go. Then we get to the main event where we've been promoting the whole entire night. Fraxium versus the Street Profits. I should have known that this was going to happen, right? Because, DIY made sure to talk about Fraxium in their promo, and then Fraxium made sure to talk about DIY in their promo. And then as the match was going, it was going very, very good. It was the main event. You might actually see a title change. I was really, really invested throughout the whole entire match. And then here comes DIY and Candice LeRae. Then here come the Motor City Machine Guns. And I audibly went, God damn it. Because, out of all the titles, of all the matches, at least let the main event end clean, especially when it's for a title and you've been promoting all the way through like it's a PLE match. And then I was so pissed off. And then the lights went out. And then the Wyatts came out. And I had very mixed emotions. I literally messaged my friend after SmackDown saying, I've never been so pissed off but yet so happy about a finish to a show, probably ever. And he was like, what do you mean? I was like, you just need to watch. You're probably just going to hate it, but you just need to watch. And because, you can't be fully mad at it. I like the Wyatt 6. I know they are borderline on the territory of they just come out to do returns at this point, do a quick program, and then disappear into the abyss, and then come back and do that sort of thing again. But the fact that they returned on Bray Wyatt's birthday, the fact that they had a birthday cake, the fact that they did all these different things, it was just so fitting. I do like them, and I do miss them on my television, and it was a very nice ending, and it was a good distraction finish and DQ finish. So when it's executed that well, I can't be that mad about it. But yes, I do think WWE needs to calm it down quite a bit, especially since tomorrow I don't think is going to stop. I don't think R-Truth versus Cena is going to end clean. I think Cody's going to return to either help R-Truth win, or maybe Travis Scott comes out to help Cena win, because, supposedly the rumor at Money in the Bank is that Travis Scott and John Cena are going to team up with maybe Logan Paul versus Cody and the Usos. So we will see how that goes. Moving forward within it. But yeah, I don't see that match ending clean. I don't think the tag match is going to end clean either, which that one I don't necessarily mind, because whoever's going to get Braun Breaker and Seth Rollins some heat, maybe we get a third member added to their group. But yeah, it's just not going to stop. And if you use it more sparingly, then the moments with the Wyatts means a little bit more, because like, oh man, I can't believe we did that. Right? So yeah, besides that constant tidbit throughout, I think SmackDown is really starting to find their stride with these 3 hours. I know we were all excited, myself included, as someone who was defending the 3-hour format for the longest time, is that next week we were supposed to be going back to 2 hours, and now it doesn't look like we're going to be getting that. We're going to stay at 3 hours for a little bit, and I do think they have found their stride with those 3 hours. The matches have been pretty good for the most part, as opposed to my one tidbit throughout, which is the distraction and DQ finishes. But the Money in the Bank qualifying match between Julia, Charlotte, and Zelina was very good. I think Zelina getting pinned was very, very intentional, not just because we needed someone to get pinned. And yeah, maybe our women's division is not as deep as we would like, but you know, B-Fab was there that could also take the pin as well. I guess she was going to have a tag team match of her own with the Secret Harvest, which again also had a distraction finish, but you know, B-Fab was there to take the pin as well. And the fact that Julia pinned Zelina, I do think post Money in the Bank, I think that is the program. I know we have Chelsea Green versus Zelina tonight as Saturday night's main event, but I don't see that happening, and I don't think it needs, not that I don't see it happening, I don't see Chelsea Green winning the title, and I don't think she needs to win the title at this point. So yeah, after Money in the Bank, Julia's like, well, didn't win the ladder match, but I did pin the US champ, so I'm going to go for that belt. And then, you know, she could probably win it at whatever the next PLE is. I don't think it's SummerSlam. It could be Night of Champions, because it's no longer Keen and Queen of the Ring, which also upsets me. I was actually looking forward to that being a yearly thing. Like, you know, it's SummerSlam's Royal Rumble. Whoever wins the King and Queen of the Ring fights their champion at the biggest party of the summer. I actually really like that format, but hey, we're not doing that this year. But yeah, R-Truth's promo was very good as well. I like how he tied it all up to if Cena wins, re-riot. How it's like, it's not about winning the title, it's just about knocking some sense into my friend. And it was a very real promo. I did not like how the crowd kept chanting "what" throughout his whole entire thing until, you know, it got to that really deep line within it. But yeah, you know, we've all been there where, you know, we had a friend and we used to talk a lot, and then, you know, the conversations get shorter and the responses don't really happen anymore, and you do feel like, what did I do wrong? And sometimes it's not you, sometimes it is the person that you are messaging. So I think there's a story there. I think there's a lot of fun to be had on Saturday Night's Main Event within that. That's probably the match I'm second most look forward to, besides the Steel Cage. I'm really, really excited for the Steel Cage match. But you know, speaking of them, I mean, all they did was fight each other the whole entire time. But yeah, you know, like I said, the 3 hours to me kind of flew by. I do prefer 2 at this point. I just don't think, you know, as much as they have really found their stride within the 3-hour format. Again, match quality has been great now that we are starting to focus on that again. I don't feel like segments have been stretched out that much. You know, like the opening promo with Alexa, Charlotte, and Tiffany Stratton. I think, you know, hey, it did its job, and also good transition to the qualifying match. Alexa is very good on the mic. I really like what we're doing with Charlotte and Alexa as well. That whole backstage segment that they had afterwards saying, oh, see, I'm Money in the Bank. Oh, no, I won't. I don't know if this is leading to them becoming tag partners or if this becomes a feud. I think I lean more towards feud, but I don't really care either way. But I really, really like their engagement that they are having. I'm really liking a lot of the focus that we're having on women's stories throughout. I mean, supposedly we'll gain Evolution pretty soon, so maybe that is why. But I do hope this does stay consistent post-Evolution, and we're not just building it because we are making an all-women's PLE. Next week's qualifying matches I'm really looking forward to as well. Nia Jax versus Jade Cargill versus Naomi, I hope gets the main event slot. I don't really know who wins that one. I'm going to be pulling for Naomi because I do want her to win Money in the Bank overall. But if she's not in the ladder match, because part of me does see where at Money in the Bank she's not in the ladder match, but she's fighting for the belt at Money in the Bank, then I'm going straight for Roxanne Perez to win it all the way through. But, you know, I'm pulling for Naomi, but man, that she has a tough order to climb. Then we have Jacob Fatu versus Carmelo Hayes versus Andrade. I'm pretty sure they're going to have Andrade work Worlds Collide, so I'm pretty sure he's there to get pinned. Jacob Fatu will lose because Solo accidentally cost him the match, and then Carmelo can move on and then maybe win. I like what we're doing with Carmelo as well. I think we are slowly turning him face, where Miz is his big opponent. You know, he was this cocky, arrogant rookie, and, you know, he would lose a lot, but he wouldn't stop talking. I like that dynamic of his character quite a bit. But now that he's starting to listen to a vet, and the vet keeps bringing him down, I do see a lot of people relating to that and sympathizing with that. And, you know, the fact that they keep making sure for Miz to be like, you need to listen. And Carmelo getting very, very frustrated with that. It's just going to build up to the boiling point that when Carmelo does attack Miz, because I don't see Miz needing to go back to face whatsoever. And I don't think, not that Miz couldn't be a face, but I just don't think he's needed to be a face. Carmelo turns baby face, really does embrace the I am him, and it's not going to be, you know, an ironic way of being him. He's actually him because he can't kick your ass. So I really like what we're doing with that quite a bit. And again, I'm hoping Carmelo Hayes wins Money in the Bank in a couple of weeks, because I do think there's a good catalyst to that with him being paired with the Miz. You know, Miz is so symbolic with Money in the Bank briefcase, Carmelo Hayes winning that, and then Miz trying to steal it away from him a little bit. Again, I think there's a really good story there to be told. But yeah, overall, again, I really like this episode of SmackDown. I think they're really hitting their stride. The tag division is as healthy as it's ever been. The U.S. scene is as healthy as it's ever been. Yeah, Cena hasn't been there, but, you know, we haven't had a program title since Orton. But, you know, that was 2 weeks ago. I think the main event scene's also pretty healthy. Damian and Drew have been picking up that slack quite a bit. The women's championship, yeah, sure. You know, after Nia, there's no clear direction for Tiffany Stratton, but we don't need to rush on that yet. Like I said, the opening promo was pretty good between them. And again, Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair program is kind of picking up that slack. And then the women's U.S. title, yeah, we still need to work on quite a bit. But again, I do see some sunshines moving on within the future. So, but yeah, again, overall, I think this episode of SmackDown was good. I had a good time with it. Let me know what y'all think about it down in the comment section. Leave a like if you made it this far within a review. I do greatly appreciate it. And hit that subscribe button as I am trying to grow into my YouTube career. Until next time, guys, I'll see you here at Lemon Studios.